Okay, guys, so there's two things that I need us to discuss before we even start on the topic of today. And number one thing is that I don't want you to feel pressured, to feel as if someone is forcing you. It mustn't be like that. Otherwise, you won't enjoy this journey. This has to be something that really comes from your heart. It mustn't come from your parents, it mustn't come from your spouse, from your children, from a certain community, it mustn't come from your church, from your pastor, it mustn't come from anyone. It's very, very important. Now, another thing that is very important is that if by any chance you feel that your immune system is compromised, maybe you're taking certain medication, you've got some kind of chronic disease or some whatever illness that you know that your immune system is compromised, please, you have to consult your physician, you have to consult your dietitian before you even begin. Those are the two most important things that are really needed to clear before we start. Maybe let me clear this while we're on that. By any chance, I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I'm just a chef who's so passionate about sharing his experiences, because I just went vegan recently, and the idea is just to share with you guys my journey leading up to that decision. And also I'm a chef on daily life, right? I make a living out of cooking, so I am a chef. And what makes it more exciting is that I'm always excited to share recipes with you guys, to come up with new things. My other idea is that I want to take what these big companies are doing, the likes of Beyond Meat. I want to take that and bring it to your home, so you can also kind of enjoy the journey. Because sometimes you might have cravings and you want to, you're missing you want to eat meat, you will have that, because look at this as more like a rehab, like a drug addict. I'm not sure if I can say that, but more like a drug addict. Somewhere you might have a relapse and you want to eat meat, or you want to eat whatever, so that's the idea, is to bring those things to you, and so that you can also try and enjoy. The whole idea is just to enjoy this process, and I just want to share my experiences with you, and that's all. By the way, I really appreciate you popping in my channel. My name is Trevor Jr., but well known as Chef TJ, by the way. So I really, really appreciate it. And if you are getting any value, I will appreciate a hit on that like button, a hit on the subscription, a hit on the notification button. I really appreciate it. But anyway, let us start. Now it's getting exciting, guys. The most important thing is to know in the first place why you choosing a certain diet, and maybe that can also help to motivate you, and to motivate you to stay on your lane, and to manage or to reach the goals you want to reach. And on that, I just want to mention that veganism is not really a diet, even though there is a group of people or group of communities then they would define veganism as a diet. Okay, diet is part of it, but for me, in my perception and experience and understanding, it is really not a diet, but it is a lifestyle, right? And I think as people, in any given diet, in any given lifestyle, we kind of decide who we are, and we live under that decision. That's what I think. So sometimes, by all means, I think you need to do what makes you comfortable, and why did you make that choice in the first place. I think actually that's number one thing that will motivate you throughout the journey. Okay, but what I really need to mention to you is that this is the part where it's going to be really, really overwhelming. And what most people do, sometimes they announce it that, guys, I'm going vegan. They announce it. Sometimes they announce on social media, they announce everywhere that, okay, I'm this person now. And I think that is a mistake. And the reason why I think it's a mistake is because veganism sometimes, or vegan society itself, I find it kind of divided. And this is my honest opinion, and I'm not judging anyone in any way, but this is my honest opinion. I do feel that it is divided, because sometimes, and that's really what makes you pressured and feel as if you're in a corner now, or we are being forced or tortured, or this is a punishment, because you might have a friend who's been a vegan for some years and they've got certain knowledge and experience, and they're like to you, no, but you're not really a vegan because you're still eating honey. You know, same applies to vegetarians. If you're still eating fish, there are people who say, no, no, you're not really. So there's certain things. Just recently, someone said, but if you're eating mushrooms, they are grown using dung. So dung is an animal product or is a byproduct, whatever they want to define. And because then that really makes you not a vegan. So there is kind of a fight on the title of who is a vegan and who is not. And you really feel overwhelmed by your communities, you know, by your, you know, your close people, might be a friend or whoever in your life that also might be vegan, and they might judge you there and there. So it's really important to me to tell you that you will feel that. So your environment, your social life, you will feel that. Now, what I want to advise you on that is that number one, know why you made that choice, and that's why I said in the beginning, it has to come from you. Then number two, stay in your lane. Know your lane, right? So it's either you announce it or you don't. But what I always suggest is that you don't really have to announce it, right? This is your business. It's not the world's business. It's really your business. You really don't have to announce it. Now, what will happen is that you will fall and stumble. Like anything in life, when you are starting something, if you have a certain goal and you really want to achieve something, and great achievements comes with great sacrifice, and you will stumble. And when you stumble, just pretend as if you were dancing and, you know, just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start again. You know, I admire people who wanted to do something and they, you know, they were stuck with it and they eventually made it in life without stumbling. I admire those people. But for me, no matter how much I admire people like that, there is really no courage and no lessons, and you can't really use that person as an example. Maybe when you are giving a speech, when you are talking to a crowd, you know, failing is really good because it teaches you a lot. There is not much education or lessons in someone who just tried something and succeeded at the same time, if you know what I mean. So when you try something and fail, don't hit yourself up. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't put pressure on yourself. Stand up, dust yourself off, and keep going and keep going. And that is courage for me. That is courage. That for me is what I really love. So I just want to advise you to do that, right? So that's it was very important to me to mention that to you, that in this phase, that's probably what you're going to experience. Okay, so the next one is your body. So while you've got all this community, all these people around you telling you this and that, your body as well. Remember, if you used to eating meat, if you used to, because meat has got fat and all those things, and the calories that meat can provide is kind of different from the calories that your vegan diet can provide. Not to say that vegan diet is inadequate. I'm not saying that. If it's done correctly, you can, you know, there is no problem if it's done correctly. And that's why I said in the beginning, if some your immune system is compromised, you really have to contact your physician or your dietitian. So here is what you might experience, right? This is in the first stages, the first week, second week. You might experience fatigue, right? You might be getting tired easily. You might experience fatigue. And the other thing is that your zinc level will take a hit because now you are changing the diet. Your taste buds are not really used to those kind of taste. They use to certain things. Remember, if you have been eating a lot of things with MSG, a lot of things with a lot of flavor enhancers, and you really used to a certain taste. So your sense of taste and your taste bud, you will take a hit there. So your body will take time to adjust. But remember, your body is a miraculous machine. It's very powerful. So give it time, it will figure it out itself. So while we are on that, you might experience deficiency on your iron, on your vitamin 12, you might experience those things. And remember, vitamin B as well. But if if you're in a region where there's always sunshine, in terms of vitamin B, you might not experience that much, deficiency on vitamin B. So, sorry, I mean vitamin D. You might not really experience, that deficiency. But and again, that's why it's really, and I can't emphasize this enough, that's why it's really, really important to consult someone who's a professional. Okay, so you will experience these things, but it's really nothing that natural supplements cannot fix, or a handful of nuts, if you know what I mean, or if you're eating, say, for example, because I'm talking about iron now, and zinc, and B12. So again, I'll mention this: if this diet is done correctly, you are able to come out victorious. For example, I mean, if you eat a lot of leafy greens like your spinach, stuff like that will help you to have a balance. You know what I mean? So there's also good fats in these diets. As I was mentioning, that because you were eating meat, there's a lot of fats there. So if you then not eating those things, then you might experience a certain deficiency somewhere. So you really need to add your avocados, or there's always alternatives. There's always a substitute for certain things. So please keep in mind that while you're experiencing certain things from the community, from people that are close to you, your body also will be training those people and kind of fighting you. Yes, again, there are people who doesn't really experience the fatigue and deficiency and whatever. You don't experience those things, and they're fine. Right? Okay, so let's just move on the next one. And actually, before we continue, I just wanted to mention this, that one of the things that you might experience is that you might experience indigestion, you might experience bloating, gas side of things, and simply because now vegan diet also involves things like your chickpeas or your lentils, your normal beans, because normally that will be your source of protein. So because of that, you might experience, gas side of things. But if that happens, look, as I said, your body is a miraculous machine, and it's going to adapt, and with time, give it a week or two, you will be fine. What I can suggest on that is that just take a portion and portion. You don't have to eat a cup a day. You can just introduce 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons, and just like that, you gradually, then your body will adapt. So yeah, that's also very important, that you are more likely to experience that. So okay, so the other thing is where to buy these things. Many people who go vegan, they're like, Ish, okay, I'll go vegan, but now, in fact, when people go vegan, what they think about is not what they will eat, but it's what they're not going to eat if they make that choice. Someone who I'm not going to eat chicken anymore. I'm not going to eat beef anymore. I'm not getting all these, lovely things that I was eating, like your ribs, whatever, what you've been eating. So, which is a wrong way of thinking, in my opinion, because you need to think about what you will be eating and what benefit will you be getting from what you will be eating, right? We are what we eat anyway. So, as I said in the beginning, it's a decision that has to come from you, because when it really comes from you, say for example, you're going vegan because you really don't want to be part of animals that are being murdered. You love animals, so if you enjoy the steak that is plant-based, knowing that there is no animal that was murdered, you don't have blood on your hands, then that kind of motivates you, even if you're experiencing these things, but that motivates you, that gives fulfillment, that your spirit, your emotions, your soul is got a clear conscience, because you know that you're not part of. So that's why I'm saying it's very important to know what decision, why are you in this path. How did you come to that decision? So the why factor is very important, because it will help you through whatever challenges you found. Okay, so again, there is a notion that going vegan is very expensive. I promise you, like any other diet, if you want to go fancy, yes, you're going to pay extra. If you want to eat things like sparrows and whatever. And in the olden days, when it was only companies like your Beyond Meat who were making all these alternatives of meat, burgers, chicken, whatever, it was, yes, it was expensive. But even then, it didn't mean that now you always want to eat those alternatives. You could actually eat something else. It doesn't have to always be that. You can eat something else. There's a lot of things that are readily available in the markets that you could eat. So going vegan, it is not expensive. Take it from me as a chef. It doesn't matter what region you are or what country you are. Take it from me as a chef. It's not expensive at all. So what I would advise also is that go to the markets. The markets are the best place to go. Go to the farmers markets. What I like about farmers markets is that you get to meet the farmers as well, and you get to talk to them and also understand how your food is being grown. And if you are an animal lover, you are doing this for the environment, and you're thinking that this is not the right farmer to buy my stuff because maybe they abuse animals or they exploit animals, so maybe this is not the right farmer. And most of these farmers, they're really honest on how they do their things, so that to also give you a sense of responsibility and a sense of security, that okay, I have an idea on how my food is being grown and there was no animal that was abused and stuff like that, if you know what I mean. So that's the situation. Now, the other thing that is nice about market, most of the things, they are organic. They are not conventional. And again, I don't want you to feel pressured. You can actually buy conventional things. Someone was making an argument this other day that even if you're buying organic, they use dung, they use bones, they use blood. So, what difference does it make? Because it's also still exploitation. And if you're getting something from a farmer, vegetables from a farmer who abuses animals, and look, don't get me wrong. I'm still a student in this thing. I'm still learning, and that's why the whole idea is to share my experience. But look at it this way: what about the supermarkets? Supermarkets buy from the same farmer, right? They buy. They really don't. They don't care about how the animals are treated. They buy from the same farmer. Right? So you buy from that supermarket. So somewhere, what difference does it make? And that's why I'm saying what is important is really, really the reason why you are trying to do what you're doing. In my situation as a African, and very been privileged to travel around, I know that most places in Africa and rural areas, they use donkey wagons or certain animals, and I also know that the clinics are like 20-40 kilometers away from the villages. There's a lot of things that they face. Most of our governments, it's not a hidden thing that most of our governments are criminals. They're criminals. They steal the public funds to benefit themselves rather than the public itself. So that's why you find clinics are very, very far. The school is very, very far, and these people, they end up using animals to get where they wanna go. When they farm in the farm fields, they use animals to plow. They use animals, so animals are always used. I know that actually almost in every country in Africa, there is a norm. People really believe this. And me personally, I've seen it work. Now, I don't know, I cannot explain in detail, but I've seen it work. I know a person who was asthmatic and they drank, donkey milk. And because it's a notion that has always been there for years. If you are asthmatic, you drink a donkey milk, then you are cured. So I've seen a couple of people confessing and who went through that. So now, what do that person have to do? What are the other alternatives? And there are alternatives. You can cure asthma, there are. But you can really tell that to a person somewhere in the deepest villages of Africa who they don't have that knowledge, they don't have internet, they don't have that. The only thing they know is that. So also education has to be spread out and be everywhere. But my point is this, is that that same person in that village might try to go vegan, right? So, but now it would be wrong to always judge that person or to always enforce that person. And let me tell you something. If you are going vegan for the purpose of the environment, the animal abuse, you want this world to be a better place, and you feel that maybe you're not doing enough, right? You feel that you are the part of the society that doesn't care about the environment, about the animals, about the world itself. Please don't. If you're trying, the whole idea is to try. I promise you that maybe you might have not slept with just one mosquito in your bedroom, making noise, keeping you awake, as intelligent as you are. You are a human being. You have got God-given talents and authority over all animals. But just a tiny, fragile species can keep you awake the whole night. I want you to remember that. Tiny, fragile animal can keep actually the whole house awake. The whole house awake. So the next time when you feel down, when you feel as if you're not making any impact, if you stumble and you feel you're not making any impact, please know that one mosquito can keep the whole world awake. Please remember that. Remember that. So that's why I'm saying don't feel judged and don't be caught up in these divisions or these politics of being vegan. So that is very important to me. So as I was saying, I actually deviated. But as I was saying, the whole idea, go to the markets. You cannot even meet other people there who are also turning vegans or vegetarians and be that are also positive. You can create friendships. It's very, very important. But otherwise, also on supermarkets, there's a lot of things, and myself, and that's why I exist. That's why people like me exist, because the whole idea is to share with you content that you are able to buy things and able to do it yourself and enjoy your journey. That's the whole idea.